Alright, so actually it was a rat, I thought. So a rat has apparently gotten inside. We'll have to do something about that tomorrow. Inform them will. So हाँ एक important point जो just मेरे mind में आया before going to that spiritual discussion and all. First important point was that जो दो important desire है survival and replication वो सिर्फ इस body mind तक limited नहीं है. मतलब body mind complex को ही हम ego बोलते हैं, but it's not just that the body wants to survive and then it wants to replicate. Our ego, the innate sense of existence within us, it wants to exist and it also wants to expand, replicate, expand further. Like it wants to feel itself in a more bigger way than it is feeling itself right now. Second, first it wants to survive, then expand. इस पर थोड़ा और elaborate करूँ अगर, all the ego defense mechanisms is a byproduct of this. Whenever someone says something जिससे हमारा ego threatened feel करता है, like cognitive biases जितने भी होते हैं, वो इसके रिजल्ट से होता है कि our ego does not want to feel that उसके एग्जिस्टेंस पर कोई थ्रेट है. तो जब उसके बायसेस को हम और पॉलिश करते हैं और इंक्रीज करते हैं तो उसका सर्वाइवल सिक्योरिटी और स्ट्रांग होता है. सबकॉन्शियस, ऑल ऑफ दिस इज सबकॉन्शियस, नॉट अवेयर, नॉट हैपेंस इन द लाइट ऑफ अवेयरनेस इन प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स. सब सबकॉन्शियसली. सो just like the body wants to exist, the ego, the our feeling of existence, it also wants to exist not in the way कि खाना नहीं मिलेगा तो it won't survive. It's not about that. The body cares for that. But इसके जो beliefs हैं उसको पॉलिश होते रहना पड़ेगा तब it will survive. और एक बार वो survive हो रहा है, it is well taken care of, तो now it will also want to expand, replicate itself. वो कैसे? Now it gets very interesting. देखो दोनों चीज़ें एक साथ हो रही है. The body wants to survive, the ego wants to survive, same level पर. फूड से बॉडी और बिलीफ से ईगो फीड होता है and it survives. Once that happens, it wants to multiply. All right, body will know multiplication only through sexual desire. Ego expands, ego multiplies through multiple ways. And the interesting part is ये जो सेक्सुअल एलिमेंट है उसमें दोनों होता है, स्पेशली इफ इन जनरल वे, जैसे वी सीक पार्टनर, we fulfill this replication of property in both dimension, body and ego wise also. Like obviously the body wants to multiply, all those drama happens, so ultimately you mate, and is body sick or body takes birth and you feel that wow, again just subconsciously. But also one interesting thing, when that happens through a person you emotionally love, जिससे तुम आइडेंटिफाइड अटैच्ड हो इमोशनली, देन इट feels more beautiful obviously, because then the whole process is very fulfilling, because you see a reflection of yourself in that person. Hmm. What is that song just coming to my mind? तुम्हारे शहर का मौसम बड़ा सुहाना लगे, मैं एक शाम चुरा लूं, अगर बुरा ना लगे, तुम्हारे बस में अगर हो तो भूल जाओ हमें, तुम्हें भुलाने में शायद मुझे जमाना नहीं। वेरी बैड एक्चुअली। इस पोजीशन में वैसे भी सुर नहीं लगेंगे। सो एनीवे, once they, you find a person you love and that person loves you back, you are spending time with them, holding hands, traveling together, you see, you feel that the person cares for you, then in that moment you feel that you exist beyond your boundaries. Get that? ये स्टार्टिंग में ही आई सेड कि दिस इज लिमिटेड, दिस मी, ये body, chest, hand, head, this whole body mind complex inside which I, as a sense of existence, ego, exist. This is limited. It obviously first wants to survive, but once survival is taken care of, it wants to expand, to feel fulfilled. अभी ये lack कर रहा है. It wants to feel fulfilled by expanding its boundaries. To, as you feel emotionally that there is a person who cares for you, there is a person in which you see a reflection of yourself, there is a person in which you can literally feel that inside that person you exist. Remember, or try to remember, maybe these experiences have occurred before, that this is what you want to feel when a person cares for you, genuinely asks how your day been, if you reached where you had to reach or not, every single thing. You literally feel that you exist as a, you exist in another life also, not just here but also somewhere else. Does not mean this body exists, but you as a life is existing somewhere else also. Your boundaries have expanded. All of this again not consciously you think, but ये जो पूरा प्रोसेस है उसका जो जूस है, दैट जूस वी फील, वो जो पूरा ऐसा थॉट प्रोसेस हुआ, ये जो सबकॉन्शियसली कि हाँ अभी हम सर्वाइव कर रहे हैं, अब हमारा लाइफ एक्सपैंड कर रहा है व्हेन वी सी आवर रिफ्लेक्शन इन समवन एल्स, व्हेन वी सी आवर सेंस, व्हेन वी फील आवर सेंस ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस इन समवन एल्स, तो जो फुलफिलमेंट की फीलिंग आती है, वो फीलिंग डायरेक्टली फील होता है. ये पूरा प्रोसेस माइंड में नहीं चलता है. चट से फ्लैश में वी जस्ट फील फुलफिल्ड. हाँ, पहले अधूरे थे अब पूरे हो गए. यू फील मोर फुलफिल्ड. एंड द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज़, कई बार यू विल सी कि कुछ टाइम बाद वो नॉर्मल हो जाता है. इट डज नॉट गिव यू दैट सेम एक्साइटमेंट. सो नाउ व्हेन द पर्सन फील्स हिज और हर रिफ्लेक्शन इन अ थर्ड पर्सन, तो वापस से वही मज़ा आता है, विच इज़ आर्गुएबली immoral or whatever. No, उन सब पर नहीं जाना है, बट basically you want to feel your sense of existence in another life form also, in whatever form. Even in a dog, if you feel better, in your brother, sister, parents, whoever. बट जब ये सेक्सुअल पार्टनर में होता है, देन दोनों डायमेंशन पर, there ultimately your body can also replicate itself and your ego is also replicating itself or expanding itself, better to say. दोनों एक साथ हो रहा होता है. So it is double dhamaka, double pleasure. That is the thing. Apart from this relationship, all other relationship is largely limited to, and not even relationship, even जो the sense of achievement. तुमने कुछ बहुत बड़ा अचीव किया, यू आर स्टैंडिंग ऑन अ स्टेज एंड एवरीवन इज क्लैपिंग फॉर यू, तो जो बहुत ही ईगो बूस्ट फीलिंग आती है, अच्छा लगता है, इज ए बाय प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दिस ऑल्सो. दिस ओनली that on some level now, howsoever small, every single person is appreciating you, every single person acknowledges you, acknowledges your thing which you have done. Let's say आपने कोई स्पोर्ट्स में मेडल जीता, कुछ भी किया, आपको बड़े बड़े ऑफिशियल से प्राइज मिल रहा है, एवरीवन इज टेकिंग योर नेम इन अ गुड वे ऑब्वियसली, तो यू फील योर वे ऑफ your sense of survival, your sense of existence has kind of transcended its boundaries and is present within more individuals. थोड़ा complex है, but try to understand. So it also gives a huge sense of fulfillment and expansion जो चाहिए होता है, जो फेम है सबको इसलिए इतना पसंद आता है. You immediately expand your boundaries when you get good fame in a good manner, when you know that lot of people appreciate you, care for you, shows affection for you. You just feel wow. Like earlier only you were caring for yourself. Now there are millions of people on some level caring or at least showing affection for you. Your ego just feels wow, huge expansion. Very subconscious in a flash, but this is what happens. That's why ये expansion second process. पहले तो survival हो गया. That is almost always in human case well taken care of. Unfortunately animals में वो भी नहीं हो पाता है अभी. That is what vegans are debating for anyway. So yeah, so actually it's night 2 a.m. so I'm a little sleepy, but this topic was so interesting I did not want to postpone it till tomorrow. Maybe I'll remember it or not in the same manner. So that is the thing. Spirituality thing will come later. So ये दो चीज़ होता है. First I want to survive. Body wants to survive. Body survive कर गया. Ego wants to survive. Both actually happens together. Body wants to survive. Ego wants to survive. Body through food, air, everything it consumes, and ego through the beliefs, through the appraisals, the good things you hear about yourself, seeing its sense of existence in other beings, in dogs, in cats, in pet, in relatives, in relationships, in husband, wife, seeing your feeling your own sense of existence in different being, it just feels huge. Ego expansion, like your sense of life has expanded beyond its boundaries. तो ये सेकंड फुलफिलमेंट भी इसे मिलता है. एंड बहुत सारे वेज है जिससे ये ईगो एक्सपेंशन होता है. उसमें एक पर्टिकुलर वे है रोमांटिक रिलेशनशिप का. उसमें ईगो तो बहुत ज़्यादा बूस्ट मिलता ही है कि लाइक यू सी, यू लिटरली फील दैट यू हु नाउ only care for yourself, now there is another life who also cares and loves you in the same way as you love yourself, or maybe even more. That just goes wow for your ego, for your inside sense of, I'm not saying ego in a negative way, by the way, how people say usually in the world, oh उसमें तो बहुत ego है. Not that. That arrogance is a different thing. Ego, your sense of existence of life, that feels wow. अभी सिर्फ मैं मेरा चिंता करता था, ख्याल करता था. अभी कोई और भी है जो मेरा उतना ही कर रहा है, केयर एंड अफेक्शन. So now I exist within that person as a sense of life in a huge manner, in a flash, again not conscious thoughts, in a flash, and it gives a huge replication feeling to the ego. अभी वो replicate कर गया है, one से multiplied. So it feels amazing for the ego. And इस romantic relationship में साथ साथ बॉडी को भी replication मिल जाता है. That's why it's the most sought after relationship in the world. So ये दो चीज़ है जिसके पीछे हर कोई है, सर्वाइवल एंड रिप्रोडक्शन. एंड इस दोनों के बियॉन्ड जाना कॉन्शियसली, फोर्सफुली जा ही नहीं सकते. इवन इफ यू ट्राई, you will crave for food, for air, and for partner. But if someone consciously reaches a stage जहाँ सर्वाइवल के लिए डेस्परेशन नहीं है, मिल रहा है, there is no desperation. It's very tough to imagine because one who has not been in this stage even for a moment cannot even get close to imagining it. Second thing, reproduction, उससे भी beyond, it wants to multiply. It when it realizes I'm not this whole flesh and bones and blood, and the mind thoughts gathered from the society. I am the awareness, the light of awareness, illuminating both of it, which, if leaves the body in a second, it will die. It does not exist. It has no independent existence of its own. This body and mind, which I call as me, has no independent existence of its own. So, once it realizes that I am that, Tattvamasi, then both of these things almost perish. They ceases to exist. वो कंपल्सन खत्म हो जाता है, बिकॉज यू नो इन योर एक्सपीरियंस यू आर नॉट दिस. सो little bit of body habits and all might be there. I'm not qualified to talk too much on that, but then you realize you are not this, and only then you get beyond both these innate tendencies, because both these innate tendencies belong to this body and mind, which you realize you are not. So तब आप इस दोनों के beyond चले जाते हो, spiritual realization. And even जो spiritual processes है, वो कहीं ना कहीं इसी डायरेक्शन में आपको पुश करती है. That's why conscious celibacy, I would like to say conscious celibacy, because it should never be forced. It cannot be forced. Not having any sexual thoughts in head automatically push you in that direction, because now you are signaling your inside life कि तुम desperate हो रहे हो, कि तुमको अपने आप को expand करना है, body को अपने आप को expand करना है, ego को expand करना है. But you cut that trend. तो आप वहाँ से एक U-turn लेते हो. That in my experience I know, or in my experience I might not know, but I refuse to believe that my ultimate existence is this flesh and bones and this ego existence, which first wants to survive, then wants to replicate. I refuse to believe. जब आप अपने सर्वाइवल इंस्टिंक्ट और रिप्रोडक्टिव इंस्टिंक्ट को कॉन्स्टेंटली पॉलिश नहीं करते हो, तो यू रिफ्यूज टू बिलीव दिस. नाउ सर्वाइवल इंस्टिंक्ट को कुछ लेवल पर पॉलिश करते रहना पड़ेगा, otherwise you will literally cease to exist. You will die basically. That is one of the ways in which many swamis used to attain samadhi also. Like they stopped having food and all. But it's not just like suicide or anything. They have already attained certain stage, and then they decide a certain date and they stop their food, first food, then water also, something like that. So the ties with the body start loosening. So the more food you have, instantly you feel more of your body. The lesser food you have, the attachment of your awareness with your body loosens. Similarly with the reproductive processes also. Now survival thing, if you completely stop, you will just die. But this body and mind has to survive, because it is only through this body and mind that the ego can realize that it is not who it thinks to be, that the ego can cease to exist and realize its ultimate true sense of existence. So this body and mind needs to survive. So survival instinct थोड़े लेवल पर पॉलिश करते रहना पड़ेगा, so that this exists, this which you call as me continues to exist. But if you stop engaging in sexual activity and start following conscious celibacy, then at least the second innate desire, which is not a need technically, you end that, and you signal to your inside sense of existence that, hey, listen, I refuse to believe that I am this body man complex. Because if you are always trying to multiply through sexual desire and through seeking emotional pleasure, seeking your own reflection of ego in a different life, then you are saying that yes, I agree with you, I am this ego which wants to multiply, and you are engaging in that action. But if you stop that, then you stop signaling that you are this, and that little bit starts loosening the grip and pushing you more in the direction transcending your body and mind. So that is why celibacy becomes such an important aspect in the path of spirituality, because it is a direct indicator and a direct statement to your inside life, which you call as me, to your ego, that what you want to replicate itself. I am not you. I am not what you call as I. And that is why what you want, I am not interested in that. I will not seek that. I will not chase that, because that is not me. It's little complex, but that it is what it is. And then such a person, through his actions, shows that he is not his body or mind. He is beyond that, even though his experience might be limited to that. But through the path of conscious celibacy, the person shows that he refused to believe he is this ego which wants to expand, but he is not fulfilling that thing. He is not interested. He is not even thinking about that thing. Not forcefully against the desire, but not even thinking about it. So that's how the path of spirituality becomes just opposite to the path of polishing survival instinct and reproductive instinct. Alright, maybe we'll end it here. If more thoughts come, we'll record it probably tomorrow. We'll merge the two videos together. Hope to have a good night now.